Thanks for joining us on the Joy News channel. This is the polls this afternoon. Former chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Farijah, has been speaking today about the use of technology in Ghana's electoral processes. He's warning the country to hasten slowly in pursuit of IT in Ghana's elections. This afternoon, we interrogate his concerns and also hear from the Electoral Commission as well as political parties on their expectations ahead of these reforms.
Not until I got into elections and we began to introduce technology into our work that I realized that indeed making haste slowly has useful meaning.
We get to the concern shortly. With less than 2 weeks to the Asin North by-election, we build up to what is turning out to become an interesting contest, with 4 candidates submitting nominations to the Electoral Commission today. And you have all of these candidates being assessed, and of course it's set to be a cut in a mouse race. The former secretary to the Inter-Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining is also in the news. Charles BCU is securing this afternoon a court order directing the special prosecutor not to arrest him. But the Office of the Special Prosecutor says it does not require a warrant to make an arrest. We have details on the polls for you. The Polls, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Dignity Lua Affordable Safe Sanitation. We're on DSTV channel 421. I am Blessed Sugan. Joy News is independent, fearless, and credible. We're back with details shortly. Welcome to the Polls. Well, and this afternoon we're talking elections. The former chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, Dr. Farijah, has cautioned against any form of rush to introduce technology into Ghana's electoral processes. Dr. Farijah is warning that although the use of technology has become convenient to electoral processes globally, it could spell doom for Ghana's elections if we do not manage it properly. He spoke a while ago at the University of Ghana's roundtable discussion on election technology and the future of elections here in Ghana.
As for the making haste slowly, we found it extremely baffling because it appeared to be outright contradictory. Make haste slowly. As young students, they appeared very contradictory. But the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. You almost hear it every Sunday when you go to church. So it was not difficult to accept. In fact, it was not until I got into elections and we began to introduce technology into our work that I realized that indeed making haste slowly has useful meaning. I have since been preaching to election managers to make haste slowly in introducing technology, and I must say that some have ignored this advice to their own peril. The sermon of making haste slowly consists of 4 pieces of advice. 1, make sure that the technology you want to introduce is suited to your needs and the environment. 2, if you take one step in adopting technology, firmly consolidate that step before you take the next step. 3. If the technology is to be used by voters, make sure it is simple and straightforward for them to use. And 4, extensively test the technology in real situations to your satisfaction before you use it in an election. These together form what I have been preaching to election administration.
Well, let me bring in one man who was there when the roundtable was conducted earlier today. In fact, Dr. Kwame Asansanti belongs to the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana that organized the roundtable earlier today. Doc, thank you for spending some time with us here today. We know that the parties are beginning to react to these concerns, but some are equally saying that the caution from Dr. Farijan is simply because of the timeline or the era in which he performed his duties as Ghana's Electoral Commissioner. This was a time when technology wasn't as high as, of course, you would expect, given the circumstances at the time in Ghana's democracy. But now things have evolved. Why not embrace wholeheartedly the idea of including technology in our elections?
Yeah, thank you, Blessed. I'm not sure that Dr. Farijan is not doesn't support technology. No, he does. But what he's saying that, yes, much as we want to make use of technology, we must as well be cautious not to leave everything to technology and support it hand in hand with, manual, if you like. It makes a lot of sense because if you look at our part of the world, particularly this country, even though we are going digital, we are doing a lot of technological stuff, but how many people are involved? There are people who don't have the opportunity, they have never had opportunity to be in school to know how these things work. They are integral part of the society. There are rural areas where even people are ready to use technology, but access to send technology there is problematic. There are a lot of technical challenges that affect the full implementation of a technology program. So I think his statement was to that effect, that we should be mindful of this. Because in an election, the least that you do, you either disenfranchise people or you are going to, allow people undue advantage. And that doesn't augur or doesn't bode well for a democracy, which needs to be what? Free, fair, and then out of controversies. So I think his call was nothing but an apt description of the situation, which we must reflect on and then incorporate into the body politic if we want to manage election and manage it successfully.
And roughly 16 to 18 months for the next elections. Many are wondering what sort of reforms the Electoral Commission would have to put up, and technology would definitely come up. We saw the last intervention at the regional coalition centers, and now obviously the EC would want to scale up its involvement of technology just to promote transparency and also the coalition of the results. You know the science about this. Why should we be worried when it comes to IT and elections? Is there any peculiar reason?
The reason, there are a number of factors that explain this. One is that not all of us in this country are technologically or technology compliant. There are people who have next to nothing in terms of knowledge about technology, and they are part and parcel of the voting public. Once you introduce a system and they have no idea, it is similar to saying that you have excluded them. But let us remember that you are talking about what? Everybody taking part in an election, provided the law allows you to do that. 2, we are talking about a situation where if somebody have no full knowledge of technology, it can compromise the election and it can go in favor of another person as against others. So all these things are important factors that really bring out the fear in people. Three is that anything that raises an eyebrow obviously undermines the democratic fortunes, and people will stand up against such a system. So all in all, you want a system that is easy to operate, a system that people can follow and follow through, a system that brings everybody on board so that nobody is disenfranchised at the end of the day. So that is basically the worry of everybody who believe in democracy and want to be careful that even though we want to go technological, we want to hasten slowly.
We can't be flippant about issues such as the use of the Ghana card even in the registration process. The Electoral Commission may be considering, once the parliamentary approval is given, for a continuous registration exercise. It needs to harmonize its data as well. These are peripheral matters that equally have something to do about technology. The EC has to be mindful, correct?
Yes. In all these things, I am one of the people who support the national card through and through. Because if you follow advanced democracies, that are those you've seen in Europe, particularly Belgium, particularly Germany, Denmark, and the rest of them, they are using these national cards, and it's helping a whole lot. A child is born and you are already, your bio is incorporated into the system, and you grow, and then the system takes care of you. So if you have such a system which is going to play a similar role, kudos to those who designed that. I support that. But we want to be very careful that the system that we are saying that it is in to cure some problems will, at the end of the day, not leave any problem for us. And that is where people are worried about. But I'm not sure that people are against the national card, and even the political parties are against them. But they want any rough edges to be strengthened so as not to create unnecessary panic and fear within the political space. But apart from that, I think all is well and all is good.
And from your department that organized this roundtable, would you say that you're getting the necessary buy-in from stakeholders after today's lecture?
I must say that today, yes, the party representatives made good of themselves by sharing their perspectives on the subject under consideration. They did well. They answered very tough, difficult questions. They were able to also walk us through that tight rope of academic righteousness in terms of what the political calculations that we as students of politics, we need to know. So all in all, I think they acquitted themselves very well. The program went on successfully. I believe that those of us who are teachers of the subject and students, that are food for thought that we are taking home and going to ponder over them, and that it will feed into the system when we will eventually get opportunity another time.
I see. Doc, you would have to hold on for me because one of the areas where we have the political parties separating in their thoughts has got to do with the Asin North by-election, which is this up in a few days from now. The Electoral Commission indicating that it has received nomination forms from 4 candidates in all when it comes to the Asin North elections, and of course the individual seeking to contest the upcoming elections in the Asin North constituency in the central region will now have to go through the next stage, which will be the elections itself. They've been doing balloting today, and we can get to the arrangement on the ballot as it will appear. Of course, we have that on your screens right now, detailing what the position will be. It appears that the New Patriotic Party is taking the lead now for the #1 position, where Charles Opoku will be that candidate that will be speaking and, of course, standing out, campaigning and seeking the elections or the mandate of the people. We then have Stefano Benes, who's now representing one of the lesser followed political parties, the Liberal Party of Ghana, LPG. They're making some inroads there. And James Jachi Koisen, the man who, of course, has his name struck out from the records of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, a reason for which we're going for this by-election, is back in that race, taking that risk. Agata Abibiu is the only independent candidate running this race. You've seen these faces, Doc, and I'm just wondering what your take is on the risk, first of all, for James Gyakye Quayson, and as to whether or not there'll be any implications for him having run for the second time for this post.
Oh, I think that once no law prevents him from running, he can run. As to whether people will vote for him is another question. But if you look at what transpired so far, I have no doubt in my mind that the people, yes, especially the two candidates, the MPP and NDC candidates, they are the material worth considering in terms of their support base. Others also, yes, will compete, but the show is a two-horse race.
You don't see them in the race at all, do you?
No, at all.
An independent candidate coming up this time around. And what's interesting is that
why am I saying this?
Yes,
if you look at the issue of independent candidates, in this country, the political party tradition are so strong, and strong in the sense that it has a whole lot of machinery that propel people to certain heights during elections. So when you have an independent candidate, from the word go, he or she is disadvantaged if he comes face to face with the electoral machinery of the political parties. And if you look at the last election, the performance of the two candidates, that is the NDC candidate and then the MPP, you realize that these are giants who competed, and then the people gave their vote to Gyakye Quayson. He went to Parliament, and what happened. Now that he's out, and then he wants to go again. Even though when you read the literature, sympathy doesn't support any research finding in that type of analysis.
Right.
But what you can find is that will people still support him? Yeah, but normally when people vote for a candidate and then the candidate, out of a certain reason, maybe death or illness, or he's not able to continue, there is always the tendency for people to remain faithful to that candidate, the party's next candidate.
But the reason for which I brought up the two individuals from the LPG and then the independent candidate has got to do with their gender as well. These are two females running up against very established political parties, and their candidates also being male. It does make a statement, isn't it?
Gender is important in political calculation, no doubt about that. But as to whether our constituencies also take this thing into consideration, I will tell you without fear of contradiction that is no. They vote for parties, not based on gender lines. No, they vote for parties and party tradition. So if you look at the numbers in Parliament, this election is crucial for both parties, the NDC and MPP. And that once they send the candidate there and the candidate has not fully discharged his responsibility and was taken out of Parliament because of the court processes and all that, I believe that the people want to still maintain him so that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done and gets to Parliament again, we want to see whether he'll be able to discharge his duties as promised them in the last election and of course in this primaries. That is not to say that the NPP is going to fold their arms and watch them. They are going to give them a run for their money, in the sense that that constituency has been won the election 3 times by the MPP too. So there are no minus in the game. It's going to be a very interesting one. But I believe that Gyakye Quayson has a little edge over the MPP candidate.
Okay, I get that. But then for Charles Opoku, who's the candidate of the New Patriotic Party, he's coming from the same base as James Gyakye Quayson. That may trouble him, because looking at the dynamics, that gave him the electoral victory in the last elections. That vote or that area may be split this time round.
Yes, you see, NPP is a very giant party with all the resources and all what it takes to run a campaign for, a by-election. And they have been very positive in terms of their performance in by-elections. And the whole party machinery is going to be behind him and galvanize support for him So yes, it's not going to be an easy contest, but as I'm saying, at the end of the day, the NDC has a little edge. But that is not to say that MPP are minnows in this game at all. They are going to go there, and then in terms of the numbers that they need in Parliament, they want to put up their best, because if NDC is to maintain this seat again, then you know the dynamics in Parliament, and that is what MPP is going to work against.
Incumbency advantage, a crucial factor in this conversation, isn't it?
Incumbency has been an important factor in election, but at the end of the day, whoever wins, wins. I believe that a lot of homework will either confirm this theory or deny. But I always believe that incumbency have very little advantage. Otherwise, people who have been in power will never lose election. But they've been losing election easily, all right? So here, a lot of things, incumbency. What is the incumbency advantage here? MPP is in office. But what is it that they can, show to the people in terms of things that will influence voter choices? Then you are talking about what? The factors that influence voter choices. You are talking about the economy. Asin North, they are also part and parcel of the economic situation we find ourselves. As improve, their lives improve and all that. It is one factor that electorate consider, and they are going to what? Consider this in this time around. Again, issue of constituency-specific issues. There are specific problems that face individual constituencies. Has the government been able to address them and all that? Looking at the economic difficulties the government finds itself, I have not been to that constituency, but I have no doubt in my mind that even if government has addressed them, he has addressed maybe a few of them. The rest remain, and those will become the building materials for a campaign for the NDC as against the government of the day. Okay. Of course, issue of the candidate itself. Did the candidate appeal to the electorate, the last election, for which reason they voted or did not vote for him? If they did, what is the point that they are going to throw him out now that there is opportunity to vote again? This MPP candidate, has he gained the confidence of the people compared to in terms of the last election, that they really want to throw away the person they voted for the first time and replace him with this? These are some of the questions that are going to come out.
And of course, this whole campaign messaging around James Jachikwesing has come up. You find that in the rhetoric where the NPP appears to be selling the message that he may go back to jail, or he may be jailed. He's never been in jail before. And that's been their message, partly. Could that work on the psychology or, the psyche of the electorates going into the contest, knowing that this is a man putting himself up for elections, but it may bring you back to the same point of a by-election? Yes,
that message, obviously, where MPP is coming from, that's what they are going to use to campaign. But let us remember that that decision, that message is contingent upon the decision of the court, which you and I do not know. So the court will decide. But for now, in the interim, what happens? The decision rests with what? The electorate, as to how they see the whole process. They will determine who should give their vote to. But the court will obviously come out with a verdict that will stand the test of time on this matter. But obviously, from a political communication perspective, you cannot, MPP will definitely use that for campaign. But there's somebody that they have also put into office, and they did not see the end of his tenure. There is, if you read the literature, there is always the tendency for people to give their vote to, so that he can go and continue from where he left off through accident or through any problem that befell on him.
Dr. Asante, we are grateful for your time this afternoon.
I am also grateful.
And as you are aware, of course, the election is due to come off in less than 2 weeks. So how ready is the Electoral Commission? We'll find out shortly. Right now, let's engage the political parties on preparations ahead of that very crucial contest, knowing that balloting has been done. Joining us now is the Secretary for the NDC in the Central Region, Gabriel Kome. Thanks, Gabriel, for spending some time with us. The NPP's Richard Techimensa is also joining us, and will definitely be engaging the LPG and getting their concerns as well. Thank you, gentlemen, for spending some time with us. Mr. Kome, of course, I was just talking about the campaign messaging from the New Patriotic Party. It's not as though that's the only message, but the fear of James Achikwesing going to jail has come up on top of the matters. How are you responding to that and convincing the people of Asin North that this will be the unlikely case?
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother. Good afternoon to your viewers and to the multimedia family. Let me first of all send warm compliments and felicitation to all your viewers, and particularly the NDC family, and to all Ghanaians who are watching this program. You've made a very important point, which to me, it is one of the propaganda, it's part of the propaganda schemes that the NPP employed and thought that that would work for them. And so that has been one of their key messages as far as our intelligence is concerned. But thankfully, we have been able to diffuse that information. We've told the people that, simplistic, Joe Quisling has not committed any crime as far as the laws of this country is concerned, and which is a statement of facts. The issue of whether or not he had denounced his Canadian citizenship before he contested an election, which was the key issue or the merit of the Supreme Court's ruling, has not been contested by the party. We've disagreed with the decision, but we've had our own opinion. So far as we are concerned, as far as the electoral law of the country is concerned, we know that Joe Quisling is fully qualified as far as the electoral law is concerned, and there's no issue has to do with jail or what the APP is preaching. In any case.
Hello, Mr. Kome, are you still with us? It appears we've lost Mr. Kome. Let's get to the others joining us now. Joining us, and Jerry, if you're with us, of course, Richard Techi is also from the NPP side. Richard, if you can hear me now, of course, you just heard from the NDC indicating what their angle is and how they're reacting to these messages that you've been sending to the delegates. And there's also the concern about incumbency advantage. How do you react to that? We seem to be having some challenges connecting with them. Of course, just gone by as the NDC sharing their issue about the redness ahead of the elections, the by-election actually, which is happening on June 27. James Achikwesing will be facing stiff opposition from the New Patriotic Party again, and two other individuals are joining, women, very significant point to note, one being an independent candidate and the other joining in on the ticket of the LPG. Richard Techi is joining us. Richard, thank you for your time. I was just talking about the fact that the NDC's Kome was pointing out that they are seriously tackling you on the grounds, but yet you're determined to reclaim the Asin North seat. How are you going about that as the NPP?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to your viewers. As a party, we are doing very well with this campaign. The NDC had their candidates earlier, so exactly a week ago that we elected Chasopoku as a candidate. And since that time, the campaign has been very well, it has been going on very well, and everything points to the fact that we are indeed cruising to victory. Two things account for this. First has to do with the performance of His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the president in this constituency. This district, the constituency also doubles as a district. The district was created by Nana Addo in 2018 with Asin Breku as the district capital. And You see, the creation of the district has brought a lot of development to the constituency, and that is a very good thing that the people are really appreciating. We can all talk about the Asin Praso, Asin Fosu Road, which a chunk of it is within the Asin North constituency. The AstroTurf, which is almost complete in Asin Breku, the Chiefs compound at Achebwanda, the Agenda 111 hospital, which is at the roofing stage, and a lot of developmental projects in the constituency. Then the second has to do with the achievement of the parliamentary candidate for the MPP, Charles Opoku. He himself has achieved a lot. It will interest you to know that in 2018, when the district was being created, this assembly office was a problem. He donated his own house to be used as this assembly office, and that is a great achievement that the people are really appreciating. Apart from that, he has been organizing extra class for senior high school students. He has built a hostel for the Asin State College, which is in Asin Breku. He has equipped a lot of the youth with skills, and that is really helping. He has donated sewing machines, hair dryers to people. He himself has sponsored the surgery of a lot of the people in the constituency. He has paid their hospital bills and the rest. He has gone to the aid of widows and orphans in the constituency. And these are the things that are selling our candidates. And wherever we go, they are singing his praises. If you have seen the video and heard what the Asin Breku said, he really recounted the developmental project the MPP has brought to Asin North since we assumed office, and also recounted the achievement of the MPP candidates. So as a party, we are confident that come 27th, victory shall surely be ours.
Accusations about incumbency abuse.
We have not abused any incumbency. We have not done anything untoward as far as this by-election is concerned. My brother Nikomi, the NDC regional secretary, can attest to it that we have not done anything bad or abused any incumbency. They are going to the villages, they are campaigning without fear of favor. We're also doing our own campaign without fear of favor. We have not intimidated anybody. A level playing field has been created in the constituency. We are selling our candidates. So we have not done anything bad. Just that the people are going to reject the NDC based on their poor performance, based on the bad candidate they are presenting. See, the people are also annoyed that this is a party which came to lie to them in 2020 that their candidate wasn't a dual citizen. Now it has turned out that he was a dual citizen, and therefore he was not candid, he was not frank with the people. And for the NDC to come and apologize to them and ask for forgiveness, they are rather adding insult to injury or salt to injury, where they are insulting on top by presenting the same candidate who came to lie to them, who was not candid with them. And that's also a factor. So the people are really annoyed, and they are going to punish the NDC for that. One thing I want to place on record is that for the MPP candidate, he can relate with the people. He has stayed in this constituency, especially at Asin Breku. He drinks their water, he eats their food, he sleeps in the community, and they know Charles Opoku from infancy to where he is now. But as for the NDC candidate, Yachikwesi, for over 40 years, he has been staying outside the country, and they cannot attest to one thing that he has done for them in the constituency. But as for Charles Opoku, the love is really organic. They can relate with him. They know where he stays. They know his house. When he comes into the constituency of Breku, they know his house. So, but as for Yachikwesi, he comes to campaign since 2020. He has never even slept in the constituency before.
Really?
He has never slept in the constituency before. So the love for Charles Opoku is genuine. That the people can relate with him. That yes, this is our man. This is somebody that we know. This is somebody that was born and bred in this constituency. He grew up in this constituency, and therefore he is somebody that we can fight for his competence and his good works.
Okay, Gabriel, comment. You've been listening to all of this. I'll bring in Jerry shortly, but Gabriel, how do you react to these concerns? Even the candidate you elected would not even reside, allegedly, in the constituency. How true are these claims?
I think that it's easier said by my brother, Richard Kitchenese, from the SDP side. Let me say that what he just said was a lie. It is a lie, and it is not true. That is total falsehood. Joe Person resides in the constituency. In fact, the good people of Asin North knows where Joe Person's house is in the constituency. In fact, Joe Person's father was a former, DC of the constituency who has brought so much development to the constituency, even, at the time when the constituency was one constituency. Joe Person himself resides in Asin North, and the constituency people knows where the person stays. So that is a lie. It is also not true that the people have rejected our candidates. As a matter of fact, the people themselves were part of the decision of retaining the person as a candidate, because we conducted our feasibility studies, we engaged the people, and then the people themselves overwhelmingly said to us that they believe in Joe Person. Because remember, the constituency was created or demarcated in 2012, and in that election in 2012, the NDC won the seat for the first time. Unfortunately, some things went wrong, and not by our fault, but by some other issues that happened. You know what happened in 2016? We lost the constituency to the MPP. But in 2020, when Joe Person emerged as a candidate for the NDC, the people voted for Joe Person. And let me emphasize that in that election in 2020, Joe Person had more votes than Nana-Addo and President John Dramani Mahama put together. He had about 3,100 votes. And it's very important to also emphasize that even though Joe Person, had to go through all this unfortunate attack by the MPP and all what he went through by this court, unnecessary court actions and all that, this gentleman, Joe Person, has brought a lot of development to the people of Asin North. In fact, as a matter of fact, all the projects that were mentioned by my brother are all fallacies. These are non-existent projects. But by his own initiative as an MP, who couldn't even get the opportunity to even have the peace of mind to sit in Parliament, he's provided a lot of projects in the area of health, in the area of education, in the area of infrastructure, even human capital development. The people can attest to it. Single-handedly, he's done a lot of boreholes, he's constructed schools, he's done a lot of electrification projects. In fact, if you have to go to Asin North constituency before 2020, and you are driving in the evening, you don't like the constituency. Even on the roads, very deprived roads, until we had these by-elections that the MPP began to rush to try and make certain interventions by way of providing some projects for people, which in any case is not, in any case, it's a project that they are doing just for these by-elections, which we know that after the by-elections, they will just pack their things and go. All the major projects that we see in Asin North was done by the NDC and not the MPP. They have no project to point out, except the road that they are talking about from Namrasa to Asin Praso Road, which one we know the details and all that. So let me just refute that it is not true that our candidates have been rejected by the people. The people's choice is Honorable James Chachikwesi.
Okay.
And he remains so.
I see.
And we believe that Joe Person will emerge as the winner of this by-elections.
We'll wait for June 27. Jerry is also on with us because in this whole race, we're seeing the emergence of at least one of the lesser followed political parties. The LPGs in the race fielding a woman aside the independent candidate. Jerry, let's talk about your candidate and why the LPG has decided to go into this race, which is now being predicted to be a two-way affair between the NPP and the National Democratic Congress. Why are you fielding your candidates, by the way? Jerry, are you still with us? It appears we've lost Jerry there, but Richard Techi, you were listening in to what Kwame had to say, the issue about even your track record and the fact that you are now fast-tracking some of the developmental projects within the area.
My good brother Gabriel Komi Ada is saying that I'm lying. It's a lie that Yachikwesi doesn't stay in the constituency, he stays in Asin North. It's a lie. It looks as if Ni is not on top of issues. Look, the Achikwe's father stays in Atonsu in Asin Central, Asin Fosu, and that is not in Asin North. All the way from Fosu, you will pass by Biaso, pass by Brofiedu. The last time for Asin Center is Aponse. Before you enter Enga, those are Asin North. So somebody staying between Asin Fosu and Asin Edubiase, it's not Asin North.
Yeah, but you know there's a history. There's a history to the area. Obviously, because of the demographics now, you would not expect it to be
I made a statement that
it was in the past.
Yes. Doesn't stay in Asin North.
I get your point.
And that is a fact.
Yes, I get your point.
Asin North.
Yeah.
And last Sunday, we crashed at Asin Breku Methodist Church. And he said that it was his father who roofed Asin Atonsu Methodist Church. He couldn't even point to a project in Asin North.
Just hold on for me. Richard.
And as I speak, we all know Charles Opoku's house in Asin Breku, that even the NDC has gone to put a Judge Kwesi's poster on it.
Okay.
It's a fact.
Richard, here's what I want us to do. I want us to hold on. Let's break down the issues. I get the point about James Achikwesi being resident or not. At least you were the ones defending, for instance, the Electoral Commission when the whole issue about being a resident in a constituency or having lived there came up. You said that it was basically not a challenge and that the constituency...
No, but I'm not saying that. I didn't say because
I get that point. I get that point.
I haven't said that.
Yes.
I know you are taking me out of... I'm
not taking you out of context. So just hold on.
Yes. I am saying that people can relate with Asopoku. People can attest to the fact that he has lived with them, he drinks their water, he eats their food, and then he understands their problems better, and he can represent them better. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, I get that. Let's bring in Jerry also. Just hold on for me. Richard, just hold on. I'll get to you. I'll get to you shortly. Let's hear from the LPG as well. They are also in the race. Let's give them a chance. Jerry, you are fielding a female candidate. I was just asking earlier why you've decided to do so, and now that the race is largely between the NDC and the NPP, as experts are saying, how do you intend to make an inroad? Okay, we've lost Jerry also there. He speaks for the LPG. In fact, he's the General Secretary of the party there. Unfortunately, we've lost him. So he's out of the conversation. Okay, so back to you, Richard. You are about building your point there.
That I mentioned fallacies or lies. Is Nikomi saying that there is no Agenda 11 hospital which is at the roofing stage? Is Nikomi saying that there is no astroturf project which is over 90% complete? Is Nikomi saying that there is no ultramodern assembly block here? Is Nikomi saying that there is no ultramodern church combat at Achirbuana? Is Nikomi saying that the road from Asin Praso to Asin Fosu was just awarded of contract from 17th May coming? Is that what Nikomi is saying? Yes, the projects are ongoing, and I'm happy that he said that we have fast-tracked the process. If these are ongoing projects, and you are saying that because there's a by-election, all the projects should come to a halt, we shouldn't continue with the project. Is Nikomi saying that Agenda 111 was awarded on contract after 17th of May 2023? These are ongoing projects. For Asin Akonfuni Road, all the drains have been done, and it's just left with bitumen surfacing. So it's Nikomi saying that all the drains and whatever, they were awarded on contract after 17th of May, that the Supreme Court ruling came out. These are not true. These are ongoing projects, and the people of Asin North know what Nana Adonai Akufo and MPP have done for them, and the achievement of Charles Opoku. Based on these, that the people on 27th are indeed going to vote massively for the NPP candidate. We are confident of victory. We are confident of victory. Come to the summit. We are not going to do anything. We are going to be law-abiding and do our campaign devoid of fear and whatever intimidation. We are not even going to be intimidated. We are ensuring that, and the EC is create a level playing field for everybody, and we are confident of victory.
And in spite of these things you say about the candidate of Asin North, He's had more figures than President Akufo-Addo and your parliamentary candidate in the last elections.
That is a fact. And you see, well, you also bear me out that in 2020, the good people of Asin North did report their confidence in Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. He won the presidential ballot. It was a parliamentary ballot that, due to local issues, we lost to the NDC, to Yachikwesi. But after 2020, we've gone to the drawing board, and all those local issues have been addressed. And going to this by-election, those issues which resulted in our loss are no more there. So it tells you how come the MPP has become very attractive and vibrant in the consensus for this by-election.
Okay, Nico, Richard, let me go to
yes,
comment.
There are MPP people who, for one or two reasons, were picked and they voted for the NDC candidate, but voted for another. This time, that thing is not there. They are not going to have vote for NDC candidate.
Right.
They will vote for MPP candidates.
Right, Komi, you've been listening to the comments.
Yes, my brother, I'm so surprised that my brother, at this age and time, is still engaging in, unnecessary propaganda. The facts are very clear. The facts are undisputable. What we are saying is that this is a candidate that the people repose, confidence in and voted massively. And this is a candidate massively for him. And we are referring to our candidate who is a choice of the people. In fact, the people endorsed our candidate in 2020. Like I mentioned earlier, the people who voted for Joe Kwesi are still the very people who are going to vote in these by-elections. They gave Joe Kwesi more votes than our candidates, His Excellency John Dramani, and even more than Akufo-Addo. The same people are still alive. The same people are saying that we believe in Joe Kwesi.
But the conditions are not the same. Those conditions are which they voted in 2020 do not persist.
Can you allow me to make a point? Please, respectfully. What I'm saying is that our candidate is a choice of the people because that is evident in the 2020 results. The 2020 results, as I clearly explained, our candidate had more votes than the NPP presidential candidate and even our own presidential candidate in that election. Nothing has changed. This is a candidate who won elections for merit overwhelmingly, went to parliament. The NPP used some dubious, scandalous, fraudulent.
We never use any dubious. It is the law. It is the law. He has been found.
You know you are losing the debate. Don't interject. Let me make a point. Very important. The good people of Ghana, particularly the good people of Asin North constituency, knows what has happened because they have seen it all. They know what exactly has happened up to today. What we are saying is very simple. Our message is that the people of Asin North, they know Honorable Joe Kwesi, they know what he has done. His personal initiative has led to brighten every corner in Asin North. Because Asin North, before he met as MP, was in basic needs, please don't interject me, please, respectfully. Basic needs such as school desks, even schools that were under trees, schools that were in the vulnerable states. This is a gentleman with own resources to renovate those schools. He's done a lot of health projects. He's done a lot of projects that time will not allow me to mention. But what I'm saying is that the people know that but for this issue, but for the challenges that Joe Kwesi had, he would have done better. And even the letters Joe Kwesi has done for them, they appreciate it. What the people are telling us is that they are ready to take all the money that the MPP is going around sharing, all the
you are talking about sharing things. I can put videos on for you. We have not shared anything.
Honorable James Kwesi. In fact, I can tell you that what
the things that you are sharing
is just an expression of fear and panic. Because they rightly know that there's no way they can win this. We have gathered credible intelligence. They are not even campaigning because of the constituency. Come to Asin North right now, and you realize that the MPP is not even campaigning. They are just moving and doing fanfare, sharing money, and assuring people of building houses for them, assuring people of providing them.
Well, here's the thing. Richard Techi, you would have to just hold on. Komi, just hold on. Komi, just hold on for me. Komi, just hold on for me. Richard Techi, you'd have to hold on. Let's get the argument Mr. Komi is making, and then I'll get to yeah, I get that, but just hold on. Let's listen to him.
Yes. So we are saying that we have engaged in a very effective campaign We have a very cohesive campaign. We've done house to house, we've done church to church, we've done mosque to mosque, we've done ghetto to ghetto, we've engaged the chiefs, we've engaged the key stakeholders in the constituency. As I speak to you now, the people themselves are coming to us. That is very worthy and interesting to note. That we are not even going to the people as now. The people themselves are coming to us. They are telling us what exactly we can do to protect the balance. What the people of Asin North are interested in is not even about voting. Because as I speak to you, they have already decided that it is the NDC and no other party. In fact, they are going to reject the NPP than ever before because they have seen the deception of the NPP. I can assure you that the good people of Asin North are with us. The constituency has about 200 plus communities. I can assure you, and we have about 99 police stations.
You see why you are laughing? You don't even believe what they are saying.
We are expecting anything not less than 70% in this election. If you have to decline, we are going to win this election overwhelmingly. 65% or more, 70% less. And we believe that the people are on our side because they've seen the light. They've read between the deception and the realism. The realism is that we have presented a candidate to them, a candidate who is real, who has been with them from the inception of the constituency to now. A candidate who has a track record, whose parents have contributed significantly. The family in entirety has contributed enormously to the development of the constituency. That is the candidate we have provided. A candidate who is a very honest person, doesn't believe in lies or deception. A candidate who says yes and yes is yes, who walks his talk. This candidate for the MPP.
Okay, let's I get the point.
And what the people are asking is that if you do not even vote in the constituency, then what are you telling us? You are telling us
I get that. Okay.
You don't believe in the constituency.
So, gentlemen, let's give way.
My friend,
gentlemen, just hold on.
The candidate has done this and that and that.
Right.
I can tell you that all these things are packaged lies, and it's part of their propaganda.
Okay. Let's give way to the LPG as well. They're also in the race. Jerry, let's try one more time. Jerry, also, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we lost you earlier on. We keep having this banter between the NDC and the MPP. I'm just wondering where you're situating your candidate now, looking at the states.
Currently, I just left a village called Subriko. It's a large town. There's no road leading anywhere after that village. And as I speak to you, I don't know the last person who spoke, but as I speak to you, the NDC has 2 pickups and 1 Land Cruiser SUV distributing agro products and Wellington boots and cutlasses.
They are giving that for free, I guess. They have
a list that goes. There are people in queues. And there's a list that they're mentioning names. They mention your name, you pick your items, then you leave. They mention your name. Like they are doing it from town to town.
Okay, but I need to point out that we're not able to verify this because our reporters.
I will share with.
Yes, I'm just putting that on record that we cannot independently. Just hold on for me. We cannot independently verify what you're telling us. It's your account of what's likely, happening within the area.
Honestly, I am here. The reason why you were not getting me was the network. Those areas when there is no power at the places, right. You would hardly get network. That was why you lost me. Right. And I am telling you, on authority, I have videos and pictures on my phone. I am going to share with Fred. So you can also see them for yourself, what the NDC and their candidates are doing. Vote buying, which we know that is a criminal offense, and Ghana Constitution frowns on stuff like that. So I am surprised if you think your candidate is credible enough, if you think your candidate will win the election, why go around buying votes?
Well, you're saying, you're accusing them
Yes, I said I will share the video with you just after this. I will share the video
I get that. But now let's talk about your candidate.
Yes, Bennett Enyonam Sefenu is also with a team doing their house-to-house, telling people what they have for them. She hails from the Volta region, but has lived here with her family for more than 15 years. She has 6 kids with a gentleman who is also a native from where they live now, called Akonfode in Asin North.
Are you sure she would make an impact in this election?
She will win the election. I'm surprised you're saying impact. Fred, everybody is talking about being tired of MPP and NDC. And what I just witnessed is nothing good to talk about. If we want development, why should we pay people to vote for us so we can work for them?
Okay.
Where does this happen? I need a job. I know you went job hunting. When you were going to get yourself a job, did you pay people so they could employ you? These candidates that are going around campaigning, everybody is asking for a job. So why will people pay people before they are giving jobs?
Okay.
It is something we have to educate our people about.
All right. Jerry also is the General Secretary of the Liberal People's Party of Ghana.
Liberal Party of Ghana.
Liberal Party of Ghana joining us in this conversation. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so thank you, Kome and Richard Techi, for joining us from the NDC and the MPP. We're taking a break here on the Pulse. When we get back, we'll bring you some more stories. And you're welcome back. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has been barred from effecting any warrant allowing it to arrest the Secretary of the defunct Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Charles Bisiu. The court, presided over by Justice Nicholas Abodakwe, has also asked the Office of the Special Prosecutor not to apply for any further warrant of arrest until the case, if filed by Mr. Bisiu, will be determined. Now, the OSP has for more than 2 weeks been trying to interrogate Mr. Bisiu for his role and matters relating to the anti-Galamsey committee. The office has declared him wanted by, of course, any time from now, but then he's yet to show up despite assuring that he will do so. Legal correspondent Joseph Akable has the rest of the story.
The OSP has for more than 2 weeks been trying to interrogate Mr. Bisiu for his role on the anti-Galamsey committee. The office has declared him wanted but is yet to show up, despite assuring he will do so. His lawyers on Thursday morning urged the High Court to injunct the OSP. Lead counsel Nana Ejewa accused the OSP of failing to make available a copy of a petition which gave rise to the investigation. He also told the court a notice declaring his clients wanted had been issued contrary to law. He provided to the court documents indicating various interactions Mr. Bisiu had had with the investigative body. He insisted such a person cannot be declared wanted. The court granted a request barring the OSP from executing any warrants procured. The office is also barred from applying for another warrant and publishing notices until the determination of the case. This order is to last for 10 days. The special prosecutor is, however, not backing down in its quest to engage Mr. Bisiu. Sources within the office tell Joy News they do not need a warrant to arrest a person reasonably believed to have committed an offense. They also explain that a person published as wanted simply means that person has refused, ignored, or neglected to attend to the summon of the investigative body.
Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament says the Special Prosecutor Kitty Ejabeng must go after the big Galamsey names and stop harassing persons like Professor Frimpong Boateng. Speaking to journalists in Parliament, ranking member on the Lands and Forestry Committee, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, called for the immediate arrest of the cousin of the President, Gabi Asare Otredakon, and Director of Operations at the Presidency, Lord Comey, who were all mentioned in that report by Professor Frimpong Boateng.
We believe that if government wants to demonstrate seriousness in the fight against Galamsey, it must go beyond the arrest of Professor Frimpong Boateng. It should go wider by ensuring the arrest of government and Jubilee appointees at the heart of government, which includes Mr. Gabi Otredakon, the President's cousin, the Director of Operations, Mr. Lord Comey, including Honorable Joseph Albert Kwam, who have all been cited by the committee. It is our opinion that a public inquiry on the committee reports and damage to our forest reserves is necessary, especially with the now wider destruction of our lands and rivers by Galamsey operators. It is unthinkable that the state, including all its reserves, its lands, rivers, money, people, are left to an elected government to manage. And it turns out that the government itself is a key sponsor of the destruction and misuse of these resources. In addition to calling on the government to institute a public inquiry, we wish to also team up with the eco-conscious citizens of Ghana. Number one, we ask government to revoke the executive instrument EI 144, forest cessation forest reserves. The instrument is 2022. The EI in operation will remove 361.50 acres of forest from Achimota Forest Reserves, and that's the lungs of Accra. Ladies and gentlemen, existing forests all over the country must be preserved.
And still in Parliament, the minority wants government to put before Parliament its plan to replace textbooks with laptops in schools. The plan announced by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will cost the taxpayer 1.5 billion Ghana cedis, but the minority says details about this plan is scanty. According to the minority leader, Dr. Kaisala Tufosin, who was contributing to the debate on the approval of the GET Fund allocation formula, government must explain to Parliament the procurement processes and other details surrounding this project.
Members expressed the need for government to present to this House a policy on government distribution of laptops to be used as a way to replace textbooks. The Speaker, this is particularly important because members will need to at least apprise ourselves with government drive as to the replacement of the laptops. Most particularly, that there is not every school that will have access to electricity. And what exactly is government trying to do to push in those areas as well? Mr. Speaker, we were told that laptops will cost approximately 1.5 billion cedis. And now the formula is allocating 740 million Ghana cedis. 750 million Ghana cedis. I thought I saw 740. 750. It's 740 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, that is what we have here. Special SHS DVET digitization innovation program, 740 million Ghana cedis. That is what has been allocated here. Speaker, my agreement is, at a committee of the whole, my agreement is for us to ring fence it whilst we ensure that government present to us a policy on this matter, for us to understand the procurement processes, the cost per unit, and all of that. Mr. Speaker, the report did not capture that, and it's important for me to state that in the coming days, it's important for the minister responsible for education to bring that policy before us and for us to understand the processes that they've gone through in taking this. And also, Mr. Speaker, in terms of distribution, are they going to cover half of the country now that they are only paying half of it? or they are going to cover the entire country over a period of time. Speaker, that details are not forthcoming, and so the minister must appear before us and to give us the details.
We take you now to matters relating to chieftaincy, because the Asante North the second has initiated processes to help end the Bawku chieftaincy disputes. The feuding factions in the area have already honored separate invitations by the Mensha Palace. The conflict, which has persisted for decades, has resulted in the loss of lives and property, stifling development in the area. Nana Yaojima has the rest of the story.
Research by the West African Network for Peace Building indicates 23 lives were lost in Bawku conflict between January 31st and February 10th, 2023. Early this year, the installation of a new chief sparked violent disturbances in the area. Though efforts have been made in the past, including the deployment of military to solve the conflict, there have been no positive results yet. The Otumfuo spoke about the mediation efforts when the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Stephen Asamoah, paid a courtesy call on him. I am still on the Bawku issue. I have called all factions separately, in peace and in truth. We will sit and listen to the issues. Both factions will be allowed to speak out, so we solve the issues. Already, I have spoken to the leaders of the factions and other relevant persons. Some have submitted documents to be studied, so we will look into all of that. We will all sit in one room and solve the issues. I have asked them to lay down their weapons. In 2019, Asante helped resolve the 16-year-old Dagbon chieftaincy dispute. Chieftaincy Minister Stephen Asamoah revealed about 70% of community disturbances are traced to chieftaincy issues. He has welcomed the Asante intervention in the Bawku conflict.
The money and the resource we are pumping into these areas is incredible. I've seen bills that we send police officers to go and separate the warring factions, and the bills that come after they've left. Even it's incredible. These are money that we could use to develop and help the youth mostly. So we want to bring down the disputes, the number of disputes, drastically. So I have segregated them into the short term and the medium and the long term. There are some which are long term, and the dispute has gone on for so long. The others that we can nib it in the bud very quickly, and then we have peace. So for Otumfuo to take over, especially Bawku, for us as a government, we are very, very happy. The president has given the go-ahead, and I have also been supportive. And for today, publicly, has even told us how he's met the factions, and at some of the meetings he will call me to witness what's going on. But we leave it to him. He has the wisdom, he has the knowledge, he understands the issues so well, and he has the capacity to bring the warring factions. I'm very happy. It's taking the pressure off the government a bit and off my shoulders as well, and I trust he can bring peace to Bawku.
For Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
And we stay a while longer on the Bawku conflict, because tomato sellers at the famous Techiman Central Market in the Bono East region are lamenting the negative effects of the conflict on their trade. The Queen Mother of the Techiman Tomato Sellers Association, Nanasewa Bonsu, says the conflict is adversely affecting their businesses, as traders who travel to Burkina Faso through Bawku risk losing their lives en route to their destination.
Bawku has over the years been an important trading center due to the fact that it is close to two major borders, Togo and Burkina Faso. However, the recent Bawku conflicts has scared many investors away from the once vibrant trading center. The effects of this seemingly unending conflict has gone beyond the borders of Bawku, as tomato sellers at the famous Techiman Central Market who travel to Burkina Faso through Bupe say the conflict is slowly putting them out of business as these traders risk losing their lives en route to their destination. Nana Sewa Bonsu is the queen mother of the Techiman Tomato Sellers Association. The Bawku conflict has affected us in diverse ways. Our trading counterparts up north are relocating to the south, and we have to risk traveling through Bawku to Burkina Faso for tomatoes. Mama Faustina Donko on her part tells me that with the current happenings in the Bawku enclave, the only thing that motivates them to embark on this risky trip is the current economic challenges within the country.
I am Sisia Papa, and you hear Pa and Yahotra, young Koda. Some Bokun Tokwano, yet what
if not for the economic crisis we are currently going through, we wouldn't have been embarking on this dangerous journey. When we watch the happenings on TV, we wouldn't risk traveling there because even the Bawku indigenes are moving out of the town. So we are appealing to government to intervene for peace to prevail. Until we return from our trip, we are always not at peace. Aside the difficulties the Bawku conflict brings to these traders, the high cost of fuel prices at the pumps is also compounding to their economic woes. Ifia Wuswa is a tomato seller here. She wants government to intervene by reducing the prices of petroleum products at the pumps.
Sikasu ni system so bi di beba betade enti yesra bali bebre say wanti diesel so mani mamla fam na yeso agifo ya ho
diesel is collapsing our businesses. The prices of tomatoes now high due to the cost of petroleum products. So we are appealing to government to come to our aid because we pay a lot of duty when we go to Burkina Faso, and this is honestly collapsing our tomato trade. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
And barely 3 months after Joy News, the One District Some Factories Hotline documentary, government has started rolling out interventions aimed at resolving the challenges bedeviling the policy. One of the factories that was badly affected was the APEP Cylinder Manufacturing Company Limited, located at Ewutu Bawku. Over 200,000 cylinders were locked up at the factory because the company was facing some unhealthy competition from a foreign company. The producer of the documentary, Richard Kojanyako, went back to the factory to find out what has changed. Here's more.
So now, if you come to our factory, boss, you'll be shocked. We are now getting to almost close to 200,000 cylinders. We cannot send one out because of what these guys are doing. These Chinese, they just came in, took over the market, cut the price down, and probably they are doing this for some time. So they realize that the Ghanaian factories have died down.
This was the situation with the APEP Cylinder Manufacturing Company, one of the companies under government One District One Factory located at Ewutu Bawku. The company was limping badly, and the thought of shutting it down became very imminent.
China developed their country, they blocked everybody, and they developed their country. Deliberate policies, protecting themselves and making sure they got to where they are. Now they are rich and they are now hitting us.
The chief executive of the company was distraught, broken, and felt all hope was lost. But today, the narrative has changed.
So it's been 3 months after Joy News premiered our hotline documentary, One District, Some Factories. We are back here at the APEP Gas Cylinder Manufacturing Company here at Ewutu Bawku.
Following your documentary recently on the challenges that we're faced with, By the grace of God, as we speak, our stock levels have gone down. The markets have started responding. The documentary got the government to take some actions, and as we speak, now the pricing levels have come to a normal level, and so we are all playing in the field. They are still in the markets. We are competing, but this is what we expected competition should be all about, not for somebody to be unduly be taking advantage. So we are grateful to you and also grateful to the government for taking these immediate steps and bringing us back to life.
The workers are busy putting metals on metals to produce the cylinders. The CEO, Philip Asifo, couldn't thank Joy News enough for producing the documentary that has changed a situation that affected the economies of the local community and the businesses of many.
The information I got was that the president himself saw the documentary and he wasn't happy at all about what he saw. So immediately he tasked some officials in government to ensure that the issues are resolved. And as we speak, not completely resolved, but at least to the extent that we are now able to enter the market and do our business, I think we are on course. They've also lined up a number of things they are working on our behalf. We hope everything will actually materialize. So I think so far the documentary has really sparked a very good reaction on our behalf.
The intervention by government is like a pain relief to them.
The government made some actions that were taken, some decisions that were taken that has somehow brought down the behavior or the misbehavior of these, if I should put in a better way, some form of invaders who attempted to destroy the markets. Before the documentary, there were some initiatives, there were some actions that the government had started, but immediately you aired the documentary, as a matter of fact, we saw some speed. We saw some direct interventions. As we speak, government is even making it possible for us to get some off-taker from government, also to sort of boost our supply. So these are efforts that are coming as a result of your initiative, your documentary, and I think we would appreciate that.
The workers the company contemplated laying off are now back in business. The stocks level has gone down and the company is thinking of expansion.
Brother Richard, it's not just us APEB, but we must also at least congratulate you for what you did. At least at the end of the day, your work has also sparked these reactions. Today, the company is now working, and so by the grace of God, all these our workers are also, actively doing something. This is what we want. So what you did has now brought back the workers. At least is now keeping people fed in their homes. That is the kind of work you have done. That is the extent of what you have done. The number of workers, almost close to getting to 250 workers. Now we are even now moving to the level of expansion. As we speak, we have other arrangements to move to other areas. So that should tell you the effects of what you have done. We thank you for that also. We thank the government for the intervention, but most especially your intervention has actually brought about a lot.
Joy News has been exploring other interventions government has put in place to bring the dead factories and the government 1D, 1F back to life. For Joy News, Richard Kwejunyakon report.
And our government says it has taken notice of reportage on the state of potholes across the country, key road networks across the country, and it is doing a number of maintenance works to fix them. This is contained in a statement issued by the Roads and Highways Ministry at the time. Of course, Joy News is running this current campaign, GH Potholes Exhibition series, to highlight the devastating and deadly nature of potholes that have riddled many of the stretch that we find across the country. So the press release there issued on Twitter earlier today indicates that the attention of the Ministry of Roads and Highways has been drawn to concerns being raised by the public in some section of the media regarding potholes which have emerged on some roads in the country as a result of the recent heavy rains. The ministry wishes to state that that generally significant volumes of work are being done to expand the nation's road networks and undertake some routine and periodic maintenance on the existing ones. The rainy season always causes some deterioration to some old roads, which are then quickly attended through by the ministry's engagement emergency maintenance program. Now, the ministry wishes to assure the general public that measures are being put in place to address the critical sections of the road which have gone bad throughout the country upon the onset of the rains. For instance, in Accra, maintenance work is currently going on at the following locations. We have the Teshi-Triblau area. We also have the Fertilizer Road on the list. Motorists and the public are advised to follow the traffic management and safety measures put in place around the locations where these works are being carried out. The ministry wishes to reiterate its commitment to providing a well-maintained road infrastructure responsive to the needs of Ghanaians. And they appear to be attaching some of the networks that are currently being worked on. But don't forget that you can always be a part of the GH Potholes Exhibition by joining us on all of our social media handles to put a spotlight on some of the challenges you have. Hashtag GH Potholes. But we stay on that series for you because today we're putting the spotlight on the Paa Grant Roundabout in Takoradi. My colleague Samuel Kojo has the rest of the story.
The potholes have been developed in the southern part of Roundabout and northern part of Roundabout are being developed. So we are waiting for eastern part of the Roundabout to develop, which I think that it's a serious thing that we ought to look at. Unfortunately, we can't tie the reason why we can't do this route to Russian and Ukraine war and COVID. We can only tie it to the fact that it's a critical route that needs to be maintained.
That's Charles Mintaba, a social commentator in the Western region, lamenting how deplorable the Paa Grant Roundabout is currently.
This route is critically important, as I cited. As we stand here, if you want to go to any part of the city, you can go, because all roads coming from any part of the city, New Takoradi, Sekendi, Vodafone, ECG, Town, link up to the Paa Grants. So that is why I think that it is so critical that we cannot waste time. We have to forgo other areas and ensure that this is fixed concerning the critical nature of this route.
The Paa Grant Roundabout is a very critical route in the Sekendi Takoradi metropolis. It connects most part of the city to the Takoradi harbour, two important hospitals, the Gapoa and European hospitals. It also connects the ECG regional office, the GMPC operational headquarters, GASEM, and the main market centre, among several other important places in the metropolis. The sad story, however, is that the stretch is riddled with potholes. This hole was once small, but it was ignored for several months and has now widened into a huge one, best described as a king-sized bed capable of accommodating more than 2 adults. There is even one that has deepened and collects so much when it rains that it looks more like a swimming pool.
So this is the Paa Grant Roundabout here in the Sekendi Takoradi metropolis, named after one of Ghana's founding fathers, Paa Grant, George Paa Grant. But as we speak, how do we as a country intend to honor his memory? What we've decided to do is to honor him with potholes. Like you see behind me, several potholes surround this roundabout. So in our estimation, the best way to honor someone who did his best for this country, Ghana, is to rather allow potholes to build up around a place we named after him.
Charles Mintaba is not happy.
So let's assume that Paa Grant was seated here alive. Will we allow this road to deteriorate to this state? There are people who will not want to pass here just because of the state of this road. So if we named this place after Paa Grant, and the actions and inactions of city authorities have gotten to a state that we cannot work on it, and people who would have passed here to honor Paa Grant don't pass here, what have we done to Paa Grant? And for me as a resident, that is what goes through my mind. We stood here just for the past 1 hour. You realize that there are some big trucks that they had to tow off from this place because of the deteriorating nature of the road. It has gotten it has gotten to a state that when it rains and you are in town, you have to decide to change your routes, because if you don't take time, you may be locked up here.
He wonders why authorities have allowed the Paa Grant Roundabout to deteriorate to this level.
Because the money involved in fixing this road, I don't think that it is something that some individuals cannot do. But we are in a country that when you have your money to come and fix the road, they will tell you that city planners will have to. So what at all is the problem that city planners cannot fix now? Knowing the critical nature this road is. If you are coming from Sekendi, you have to use this route. If you are coming from Beach Road, ECG, GSTS road, you have to use this road. If you are coming from Ghana Telecom, you have to use this road. If you are coming from town, Market Circle, you have to use this road. If you are coming from New Takoradi, you have to use this road. So the question is that the critical nature of this road should not have pot wells develop around a prominent person who we name after him, Paa Grant. And that is why I think that it is a state of emergency.
Driver John supplies mineral water in the metropolis. He says it is sad that all the officials of the region use this stretch but have looked on unconcerned.
We have complained
about the pothole several times, but nothing is done about it. If some of my load had not been bought, all of it would have poured onto the road now. Meanwhile, we pay tax. The regional minister, the MPs and other big officials use this road daily, but they seem not to care. We are really suffering, buying spare parts, especially our ball joints.
To protect their vehicles from slumping into potholes, some drivers have now resorted to climbing into the perimeter of the roundabout, destroying the curbs.
Being in Sekendi Takoradi, the capital of the region, yet look at the state of our road. Is it good? This is a disgrace. It must be fixed.
We are really suffering. When you move a little, your car scratches the surface of the road because of the potholes. The last time, my friend dusted his sample.
To Charles Mintaba, the city authorities must act quickly to get this fixed.
So I appeal to city planners, urban routes, the regional minister and the metro chief executive that this is beyond where we have to allow you to consider the critical nature and why this place was named after a very important person. For Ghana's independence cannot be discussed unless it is linked up to Paa Grant. And Paa Grant Roundabout cannot be discussed unless it is linked up to the major roads of this city. That is the need where there's an emergency, there's a need for us to work on it.
When will authorities intervene and solve these challenges? Your guess is as good as mine. From the roundabout, the Paa Grant Roundabout in Sekendi Takoradi, for Joy News, I am Samuel Kojo Brace.
And the campaign is still on. Just move on to your social media platform, particularly on Twitter, Facebook, just hashtag GH Potholes and share with us the challenge in your community. You're still watching the Pulse on the Joy News channel. We'll be right back. And you're welcome back. The Media Foundation for West Africa is expressing frustration at the unwillingness or, of course, stubbornness of some state institutions in releasing information and the right to information law. Programs manager of the foundation, Abigail Labi, who's been speaking at the launch of the RTI Support Center in Accra, cited the Office of the President of the Republic of Ghana, the Police Service, Ministries of Finance, Health and Roads and Highways as some of the institutions that are not yielding.
The MFWA's non-profit journalism newsroom, the Fourth Estate, has had to do a number of requests on public institutions. Even under our own local governance project, we've also have worked with citizens groups where we've made several requests on local assembly authorities. And in instances where they have refused to provide that information, the law makes provision for appeal processes or mechanisms within which you have room, to further pursue. So if after the 14 days, for instance, you do not hear from the public institution that you made information requests to, then there are other appeal mechanisms that you can follow. And that's how come we've had so far about 30 of those requests that we've made going to the commission, the RTI commission.
All we have for you here on the Pulse. I am Blessed, so go and log on to myjoyonline.com. I have updates for you. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.